Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking the video out today. We have some very exciting news about God of War Ragnarok. Obviously, every PlayStation fan, or I would assume every PlayStation fan, is excited about Ragnarok and are very much looking forward to seeing more of it, hearing more about it, getting a release date, the whole thing. Well, this news seems to indicate that a release date announcement is not too far off. So before we get into this information, do me a favor. If you do end up enjoying this video or finding it informative, make sure you hit the like button. It really does help the videos a lot. And if you are new here to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. So the first thing we're going over has to do with some new God of War Ragnarok merchandise that seems to be arriving at the end of September. So reading from VGC, it says Sony is reportedly planning to release a range of God of War Ragnarok merchandise this year, as spotted by VGC reader The Marmalade. Several t-shirts, plush dolls, and accessories for the game have been added to retailer Geeky Zone with a release date of September 30th, 2022. It's worth noting that this could be a placeholder date, and as companies often release merchandise before the actual launch of a game, it is not necessarily indicative of when the game itself will release. The September 30th date is reportedly the same date that was used for the game itself on PlayStation's database. So yeah, this is leading people to speculate that maybe God of War Ragnarok is going to be releasing on September 30th. And while it is true that this could be a placeholder date, and it's true that a lot of times merch releases before the actual game, I have to say that September 30th makes a lot of sense, not only because this was the same date that we saw in PlayStation's database, but because it's also on a Friday, and we know that Friday is a really good day and a very common day for big AAA releases like this. And honestly, it doesn't get any more AAA than God of War Ragnarok. And it is worth noting that September is a month that Sony likes. This is a month where Sony likes to release potentially whatever their biggest game of the year is going to be. This is when they like to drop it. It's right before the holiday season. There are usually a few games releasing in September, but it's not like the biggest month or the most crowded month, I guess is what I should say. So in my opinion, I think we are potentially looking at the release date of God of War Ragnarok, that being September 30th. I have seen some people speculate that it could be sooner than that, maybe the 23rd, the 16th, the 9th, the 2nd, so on and so forth. These are all Fridays in September. And then there's also been some speculation that it might be releasing in October, because apparently there is some merchandise that is listed with an October release date. I'm going to tell you right now, from what I can tell, an October release for God of War Ragnarok seems very unlikely. I just don't imagine Sony releasing a game like God of War at that time. It would be a little bit surprising. It would be out of the norm for them, and especially because we know that Forspoken is launching in October. I just feel like Sony wouldn't want to, kind of get in the way of a game that's exclusive to their own platform. But, this is all just speculation. But nonetheless, this merch and it popping up on the store with these release dates, this is real. But we're moving on to the next topic regarding God of War Ragnarok, which at this point in time, it pretty much confirms that, yeah, the game's coming out this year. I don't mean to keep saying that, but there are still people that are thinking it's going to get delayed. Again, from VGC, it says that God of War Ragnarok has been rated in South Korea, where it's been given an 18 certificate. This is something that when we see games rated, it means that the game is usually closer to release. It says here that a South Korean rating doesn't necessarily mean the game's release is imminent, but it does give fans hope that despite still not having a release date, it may still be on track for its promised 2022 release window. For comparison, Horizon Forbidden West was rated in South Korea in November 2021 and then was released 3 months later in February of 2022. And this is something with Sony games specifically that we have seen. When we see these ratings pop up, it usually does mean that these games are a mere few months away. It's actually pretty uncommon to see a PlayStation game rated and then, just nothing happened for the next 6 to 12 months. That's usually not how it goes for PlayStation games in particular. And yeah, so I wanted to let you guys know about this as well, because on top of seeing this merch released and having those dates on those merch or on that merch, we're also finding out that the game is getting rated. And it's just one of these situations where we're talking about God of War Ragnarok specifically. Could Sony be getting ready for a state of play dedicated to God of War? Of course they could be. That's certainly a possibility for June, but to me, I think that God of War Ragnarok is going to be a center showpiece during an upcoming PlayStation event. I just think that that makes the most sense. I think God of War is such a big game and it's such a big deal that knowing that Sony pretty much breaks records whenever they do their big showcases. I mean, let's be honest here. When Sony announces a proper showcase, everybody tunes in. That is something that absolutely commands the attention of the entire gaming industry. I feel like kind of putting God of War Ragnarok at the center of that makes the most sense. So it wouldn't surprise me if in just a couple of weeks we end up getting a Sony event as well as learning the release date of God of War Ragnarok. And again, I think it's going to be September 30th. And I guess at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to leave your prediction down in the comments below. When do you think God of War Ragnarok is going to release? Be specific with your date. I'm going to be curious to see what you guys say. But the final topic regarding God of War Ragnarok, as well as some other PlayStation franchises that I also want to just briefly mention here, is that it's been confirmed Sony has multiple shows in the works. We did hear about a God of War TV show. I don't think that was ever officially confirmed, but it has been officially confirmed now. But on top of God of War, apparently Horizon and even Gran Turismo, they're also getting their own TV shows. This was confirmed by Sony Pictures Entertainment's CEO, and he claimed that the company is currently working on TV adaptations for God of War, Horizon, and Gran Turismo. Amazon has secured the streaming rights to the God of War series, while Netflix has picked up Horizon. I don't think we have any word on Gran Turismo yet, but yeah, guys, I mean, Sony is absolutely all in with, live adaptations of their big franchises and, kind of just wanting to make sure that they continue to grow in this area and expose more people to their IP. It's worth noting that the Uncharted movie surpassed $400 million at the box office. So it is a hit movie, like a really, really successful movie for Sony. I think more successful than they or anybody else was anticipating. And so, yeah, I think it's a good sign. As I said, I did see the Uncharted movie and I enjoyed it. It was actually way better than I expected it to be. It wasn't like groundbreaking or anything, but it was, in my opinion, exactly what it needed to be. And if Sony can kind of handle their other live adaptations, whether they be movies or TV shows, the same way, then yeah, it gives me confidence and I think it's a good thing. So there you go. That's all the new information I have for you on God of War Ragnarok. There is way more PlayStation information to go over, but I wanted to make sure to kind of have a video just dedicated to the God of War stuff specifically. Either later today or sometime tomorrow, probably later today, I'll have a more extensive video covering all the new information we learned from Sony, because we learned quite a bit about the future of PlayStation and what Sony is planning to do. So that does it for this video, guys. Leave it a like if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.